Hi, I'm Peggy with Headshots by Peggy, and I am social distancing with Merrick McCartha, so he's going to join us again today. And we are going to talk about what the industry might look like going forward. So we have spent quite a bit of time in the last, 8 weeks that we've kind of been on lockdown. We spent quite a bit of time working on self-tape skills, working on different things, but we've also been catching a lot of casting director lives, agent lives. Last week I had Stephanie Burns on, a commercial agent, talking about what's going on now commercially and what may happen. So what are your thoughts on what's Hollywood going to look like?
Yeah, a lot of sea changes in how we're going to do things. So people compare it a little bit like what happened after 9/11, how we changed the way we lived, changed the way we travel, no doubt, but other things as well. With the COVID-19 virus, the industry is going to need to make some major adjustments to how productions go about themselves. How we operate in production. Things like when you go to set. Let's start from the process, beginning. You go to an audition, you go into a waiting room full of other actors, then you go into that casting office, do your audition with the cast people there, 2 people, and then you leave and go about your day or go to the next audition. You get notified that you booked the job, and then you report to set. Well, let's back up one more. You don't report to set first. You actually have a fitting day normally where you go to a place where you're working with a wardrobe person and the director and producer on what you're going to wear for the shoot. That fitting person has to have you try on multiple different outfits. They're handing things back and forth to you. You're handing things back and forth to them. They're taking photos. They're in close proximity, getting close-ups of your face. And then after that, you go to a production set for your first day of work. You are escorted to your trailer where you have your wardrobe waiting for you. Then you go to usually get some food from a crafty table, or maybe there's time for you to grab breakfast or maybe even lunch, where you're standing in this assembly line of people for a buffet style meal. And then at some point you actually will go to work on set where there's dozens of people working around you, many of them in close proximity. Camera people, directors,
even the sound guy,
the makeup people that have to, put your makeup on for each shot, to do touch-ups. They're in your face really close. The hair people, for most women, they're constantly checking your hair, touching, preening. All that's going to change.
It's going to have to change.
Yeah.
So I know we've read a couple of articles that have talked about some proposed changes. Clearly we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We're just kind of thinking about all the things that will have to change and how that will affect everyone, how it'll affect small budget productions, because they're going to have testing. They're going to have individually wrapped food. They're going to have all these different things going on. So this is definitely going to change the way Hollywood produces movie.
Like film, television, absolutely. Yeah. So what you're likely to see are, until we have the virus under control with a vaccine or a straight up cure, we're going to all be practicing these mitigation measures. It'll be some social distancing. You're still going to have to wear masks. So we've talked to casting people. I've talked to my agents. We've heard from industry professionals about the new guidelines that are coming up, and it's looking a lot like it's going to be at the very least a longer process for everything. So, for example, when you go to your audition, if they're trying to audition 20 people for a role, if you're doing television, more likely you won't be in a room with other actors while you're waiting. More likely you will have a specific time slot where you need to be there on time.
Yeah. Or
Peggy's favorite thing is being on time.
I'm a big on time person. You want brownie points with me?
Yeah.
And I work with actors every day.
Yeah, so I would predict that it is going to be imperative that you are on time for your time slot. There's no, if you miss your time slot, you might simply not be able to audition, or you might need to completely reschedule if they allow that.
I know one of the casting directors were saying they may do a lot more self-tapes until like the callbacks,
Right.
and just see callbacks
Correct.
in person. And
Correct, and that's probably going to be a wide thing. And here's another thing about the self tapes, and we talked to casting people about this. The self tapes are for typically smaller roles, things that they felt like they didn't want to call you in to say, right this way, sir. That they didn't want to call it, so they'd give you a self tape for that. If you had a bigger role, they did give you the option of the self tape. But normally with the self-tape, what the casting director misses and what can count against you is if they've never met you before, especially, is they don't get to know who you are as a person. They need to determine not only can you do the job, but can you behave yourself on set? Can you make sure that you're not going to be a disruptive person on set, that you can be professional on set?
that you can do your job in a professional way and not, be the troublemaker that's telling the director what to do or snapping with other actors.
Right.
And, being a problem. So these are important things. A lot of things are going to come down to, do we want to work with you for 8 hours on set, especially under the new guidelines, because it's not going to be convenient all the time, and it's not going to be what we're used to. So how flexible are you? Are you going to adapt to this? Are you going to be the one that folds your arms and says, I don't believe I need to do this, blah, 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 and slow down the whole production because you don't like the change? So I think now is a very, very good time for you to really get a hold of your emotions about this and realize that nothing is ever going to go back to normal. The way things used to be, it's different. And your adaptability is going to be directly related to your success going forward, I believe. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think your success is going to be now measured on how easily you are to adjust to the new norms with the COVID-19 procedures that every production is going to have on set. So if you're not on time for your likely scheduled time slot, if you get one, if you are resistant to wearing a mask during certain times, these are things that the casting people are going to need to know. So getting back to the process of the audition and self-tapes. So self-tapes, they miss that interaction to know that you're sane. And self-tapes, of course, with the benefit you have of doing it at your home studio or wherever you do it to get it perfect and to show them, you also, the cast person doesn't get to know who you are as a person, how you get to this process. So with an audition in person, they can see that. So yes, likely you will see more self-tapes than anything. And then there would be sort of an in-person final callback for you meeting the casting person at the very least, or maybe sometimes it will be the producer, director, callback read that you're normally used to. That will more likely be in person. I'm certain for larger roles it will be. But to get into that office initially, if the casting director hasn't gotten to know you in person already, be prepared that it may be more difficult for you, because casting people tend to, especially in times like this, need to do their job where they're casting reliable people with no risk at all of them, risking their reputation on someone they've never met.
Right,
So,
especially because time's going to be of the essence. Once things open up, I think they're going to have to try to figure out how to produce as many projects as quickly and as efficiently as possible, because we're running out of TV.
Yeah. So with the time freed up for them, perhaps not having as many in-person auditions, maybe they'll have more time to go through more submissions to see the people that either they've seen before through these wonderful self-tapes, that open casting self-tapes they're doing now, or just look through and check people's resume a bit better to see their work, instead of what some of them have been doing is a small percentage of them simply saying, that person that might be nice, and kind of going by just their headshot. Now the headshot's always going to work for you, but it should be something they've seen before more so. So if you haven't gotten a chance to go in with them, I recommend now doing things like a very smart postcard about the work you've done to the casting people. on shows that you think you would be a good fit for. That may be a good strategy to take right now. That's my personal advice to you. What else were you going to say about that?
Well, I was just going to reiterate. Clearly, none of us know what's going to happen. This is all speculation. We're speculating this by all the things we're reading and by what industry people are saying. We're speculating it's going to be something like this. But the one thing that we do know for sure is that you have a unique time right now. You have time to really work on scenes, to work on your acting, to Zoom call with other actor friends and work on your skills, to set your cell phone up and record yourself so you can see how your expressions come across on camera. So you can see, like, you may think that face that you makes, is a stern, angry face. But when you look at it on camera, it may look like you're going to the bathroom. So you need to know this, and you need to be able to adjust this so that you know what you look like on camera. I've been saying this forever. Every single day you should be sharpening your skills and working on your craft. And now you have this unique opportunity to actually do that. So you need to be taking advantage of that. You need to be looking through, yourself and what am I a fit for? Who am I? Maybe take the time to ask people that just know you casually, what roles do they see you in? I have a questionnaire to help you narrow down what roles you're a fit for as far as getting headshots. So now's a good time to get a hold of that questionnaire. If you look back in a few vlogs back, I have a link. I said, hey, contact me. I'll get you this questionnaire. You can work on these kind of things. Right now is the perfect time to be figuring out who you are, what kind of an actor you are, what you're going to market, and where you're going to focus on. And it's not typecasting. It's not saying that that's the only thing you're going to do, but use what you have to your benefit to get your foot in the door and get seen, and then you can expand on other aspects of your acting. But I think it's really important to take advantage of this time that we have right now and do those things. Get in front of that camera every day, work, take advantage of these open casting calls. Oh my gosh, if you're not taking advantage of these, you're crazy, because casting directors are looking right now. They want to see people they've never had the opportunity to see.
They're bored. Yeah.
They're bored.
Yeah.
And, they know that, hey, they've got a little file of, hey, I want to keep these people on my radar. You want to be in that file of, hey, I want to keep you in my radar. So...
Yeah, I would say that's definitely true. Now is a great time. And yes, it is better to be in a classroom environment where you can really get a sense of watching other people work and people watching work to get some great feedback. And you're not going to have that ability right now. There are lots of great Zoom classes happening out there, which I think are beneficial. There are teachers that are offering it. So look for the Zoom classes. They're going to be beneficial for you also. And as far as targeting, I think now is a great time for targeting more than anything, because you want to go with your strengths right now. And if you haven't figured that out, it's a process you go through where you are. People make the mistake with figuring out their type is they go to friends that know them, their family, and say, hey, what do you think I play? And your friends and family love you. Or they've seen lots of facets about it and think, oh yeah, you can play all this kind of stuff. Well, you need to find someone that barely knows you, or even if you can, doesn't know you, and just show them a couple photos of you and say, hey, what do you think I could play? What kind of person do you see me playing? And let that person give you a better idea. And that way, after asking random people like this, seeing where the overlap is, and then honing in on what that character they're seeing that you may not have seen before. Sometimes they're going to see, yes, Merrick, you're a detective, you're an attorney, you're a doctor, yeah. And that's fine, but if you don't know that yet and you're finding these other things that you could possibly do, those are the kind of looks that you want to bring out. And not just what you can look like you play, but what you know you can play as an actor as well. There has to be that combination too. So when you're getting your headshots, now you're bringing your strongest to the casting person. You not only look the part, but you know that part is in your wheelhouse. And so when you're picked for that, you're not disappointing a casting director, and you have a lot more of a focus with your career. And as casting directors see you coming in, doing well on these auditions, or sending in consistently good self-tapes, they're more than likely to consider you again for other things, even if they don't find you right for that particular role the first time.
And also to build on that, this is a great time to be thinking about those new headshots. What do you want? What look are you going to go for? Because I guarantee that every single one of you look different than you did 7-8 weeks ago. You've either, not just your haircut. I know everybody's going to run to their stylist the second things open up. Believe me, we know that. But you've either spent 8 weeks working out, or you spent 8 weeks eating chocolate. One of the two. Either way, you look different. But not only that, you should be different as a person, because you've been able to kind of find some things out about yourself that you didn't know before this. So, you will need some new headshots to portray who you are as a person. So once this is all over and everybody gets a haircut, then it's going to be time for headshots. It's going to be time for submitting and getting out there again. But don't forget, be thinking now about those times. Prepare for reopening. Don't let this special time get away. Prepare now for what's coming up, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I was scheduled for a couple things that are now pushed back till whenever. Word on the street is that we're looking at end of August, early September, more likely to get back into some kind of work. Mm-hmm. But again, that work is going to be getting there and spending an extra hour and a half with screening for the virus. And that's going to be a serious, serious thing. So look for getting there really early, having to meet at a location that is not even by the set, to check in, get screened, waiting for that process, answering any questions about your potential contamination. And then once you're cleared from that, going to set, where you're going to have the individually wrapped meals, you're going to have cordoned off sections for yourself. You're more likely going to need to wear the mask.
Until you're on camera.
And even then, they're going to need you to be in makeup, so I'm not even sure how that's going to work as an actor. So I can
Because I know when I go to the grocery store, I do makeup from here up, because I know I'm going to be wearing my mask that day.
Yeah.
Because it's, your face ends up on your mask.
Yeah.
It's gross.
So it may be that for the actors, for the talent that are getting in the makeup, everyone around you is going to be in the mask, and they may be in a more secure mask. It could be, hazmat stuff. I don't know. Because the deal with mask is that it's to protect you from infecting other people. If you're not wearing a mask, it doesn't mean that if you're around someone with a mask that they can't possibly infect you. It just means that their risk is less likely of a risk. Optimally, both people are wearing masks. So on a film set, you have actors and you have production crew. Not everyone can wear a mask unless there's a show about everyone wearing a mask, which is not likely to happen. So unless it's a medical show, which they can't film every episode of Grey's Anatomy with everyone. They could. I don't know. Maybe they could. So you're going to be there may be a point where you're in makeup and everyone else is around you. That's not in makeup. So to minimize that, they may have you isolated while you're in makeup until they absolutely need you to be on set, and you'll be sort of confined to your dressing room trailer until it's time for you to go to set, and you're brought to set, and everyone around you is going to be in gloves and masks. The director, the hair and makeup stylist, the camera operator, the cinematographer, the producers, everyone there except for you and your other castmate. And then, how are we going to do the social distancing with the other castmate you're in the scene with? I don't know. It's something has to happen. So we expect a lot of things to be different and weird.
Be ready to be flexible. Be ready to take care of yourself, respect your health and your family's health, and be ready to really be flexible during this time. I think that's going to be the most helpful thing. Don't forget, every single day, get in front of that camera, do scenes, memorize, get that memory, memorizing lines. Memorizing comes fairly easy to you.
Yes.
Comes fairly easy to Sam as well.
Yes.
And I read lines with them, and I may read lines like 50 times, and I still don't know my 3-word line, and they've got their paragraphs down, but whatever. Clearly not an actor.
No,
but that's a skill.
Yeah, it's something you practice and build a muscle.
It's a muscle.
Yeah.
And take advantage of this time and work on those things.
Yeah.
And get better at those things. Get better at knowing what you look like on camera, and just smile. If nothing else today, just smile, because None of us thought 3 months ago that we would be here today, but we are, so it's okay. We're all alive, and I hope that all of you are healthy and all of your family is healthy. And I want you to know that I appreciate you watching all of my vlogs, and I appreciate all your comments. So please, please, please keep in touch and keep smiling, stay healthy, stay home right now, and most importantly, have an amazing week. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
No, that's it. I wish everyone the best.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you soon.